If you're not growing, you're dying. When I saw that, it struck me. It struck me like lightning because at that time, I was deciding if I wanted to stay in California in my comfort, my home, the state that I had lived in my whole life up until that point, other than like a little bit, 4 years in Arizona, and then half of a year in Mexico. I was deciding if I wanted to go do this crazy thing where I uproot my life and move to another country. It's a calling that I had, but I was afraid to leave my comfort. And this is how my story looked, but this can look in many other ways for every single person, right? We often face this time where we get to decide, do we want to stay comfortable or do we want to grow? Do we want to stay in the familiar or do we want to go explore and see what's out there, right? It was the explorers that changed the world, that changed life on Earth. You are a pioneer of your own life. If you are living by the rules of another person or of society, then you are not being the pioneer that you could be. If you have a calling in life and you aren't going towards it because of what other people have told you about it, then you're not being the pioneer. You're not living in the potential that you have. And it makes sense why you wouldn't, because the subconscious is so powerful. The subconscious will do whatever it can to keep you safe and away from going into the unknown and going into potentially dangerous situations. And so it will create every scenario, every thought, perceived reality manifestations that will literally happen to keep you in the place that you are comfortable in rather than going into the unknown. So it comes back to then, if you're not growing, you're dying. If you are just having Groundhog Day all day, every single day, you wake up and you're like, here we go again, then you're not growing. You're not going forward. And I've had many times in my life where it's reached that point. And when it reaches that point, I'm like, something has to change. I remember the first time that I noticed, maybe I've noticed it before, but I was in Mexico, maybe. I was living on the yacht. I lived on this yacht for a year. I was working on it, managing it, and we had just got back actually to LA. And so I was living on there by myself. Everyone had quit. It was a toxic environment. Literally, it was moldy. I was very, 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 very ill because of it. And there were also toxic behaviors from, the people owning it and whatnot. So, but I stayed because it was familiar. And I knew it. I knew how I felt was shitty, but I enjoyed certain parts of it. So I hung on to those certain parts and I was like, no, I live on a yacht. This is my dream. I live on a boat. It's so cool. Like, it's a great situation. Like, I make good money and, I get everything paid for, all my food, everything. And like, it's great. It's great. But there was this little, there were other things, but there's this thing that I noticed that happens now, and it's like a guiding light of mine. When I would wake up on the boat, I would look out my window, I would see fish and seals and seagulls in the water, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. And then I started waking up, and I would also be like sweating all night and having nightmares and was like really sick. But I would wake up, I would look out the window and be like, here we go again. Here we go again. And when I have seen that happen, like other times in my life, like it even happened on the farm in Italy recently, where the days were starting to blend together, especially with my injury and like not being able to leave my little round pen that I was living in. Like, beautiful. I loved it. I miss it in so many ways. But because it's familiar and I'm in like a very unfamiliar situation right now, which I'll get into, but I started noticing like every day I would wake up and be like, okay, go make my coffee. Like I'll do my routine, and I was like, I'm not growing right now. If I stay all summer, and if I just stay indefinitely, I will not grow. And so as I reflect on this adventure to Ireland, I am, at least I can remind myself that I am growing. Like I am growing. The challenges that I have faced have made me go to places that I would never normally go to when I'm just living in my round pen and doing the same things, and it's safe, and that's wonderful. Like it's good to be safe. You always want to be safe, and I haven't been unsafe. That's the thing. Like nothing has happened to me that is unsafe. I've been able to move through each situation, and everything has worked out, though it has been shocking to my mind. And so if you're new to this story, I was living on animal rescue and sanctuary in Italy for the past year, over a year. And I had like a little area that was mine, big. It was actually really big, beautiful circle fence area with my big tent and van, and we were building a roof, and I had my outdoor shower and my dogs, and I miss Zima so much. I miss Zima, I miss Ladybug, I miss Indy, I miss everyone there. Like but I needed to go. I needed to grow. So I packed up and brought everything here to Ireland because I have a family farm here, and this farm's been in the family for centuries. And I was like, I don't know how long I'll want to stay, if I want to like grow roots and like help my brother work on the house and like all this stuff. So I was like, I just have to bring everything and just go. And broke down like pretty much right next to the ferry in France, and had to get towed onto the ferry. I broke down at the Reno randomly when I was looking for a laundromat because my cat peed in the bed. I'll say it really quick if you've already heard the story, but got towed to the ferry. The ferry has a free tow truck service, so they towed me onto the ferry. Ferry was wonderful. It was like a little eye of the storm, like break, because it was like being on a cruise ship. Like it was really nice, and I love boats. I've said, did I say I love boats? And my animals were all in a pet cabin together, my 2 dogs and my cat that are with me. And so we got here, then I got towed to the mechanics, and I was there for 4 days, and they weren't able to fix it. I got food poisoning my first day being there. And there's cat pee in my bed. I wasn't able to do laundry. My puppy peed in my bed too. And I had all my stuff in there. So I would crawl through this like little tunnel and I want to edit the vlog. I just like haven't had the space to do so. Maybe I have a block against doing it. I will do it, and I will sit down with it because it'll be really interesting to see that journey in video. So crawl to the tunnel through the tunnel to my bed, cat pee, dog pee, everything stripped off the bed, all the sheets and everything. And it was intense, and food poisoning and an injured ankle. And I was like, why am I in this situation? I was like, maybe I should have just stayed in Italy. But also I knew I had to go. And I checked back with that. I'm like, I know I had to go. And this is where I was guided to going. This is what felt right in my body. I kept going inwards and saying, is it Ireland or is it Norway? But with my injury, it was like, it's Ireland because it's flat. I've got the land. I won't be driving around and like having to look for places to park. It just seemed like the right decision. And that's the thing, is like, just because something seems like it's the right decision, like you're being fully led there, doesn't mean it's going to be what you expected it to be, but it doesn't mean that you weren't meant to be there. I hope that landed. I'll say it again because I think that's a really important part of this message, is that even though, you were guided to go to something in life and you arrive there and it looks so much different than you thought it would, it does not mean that you made the wrong decision. If you were being called to go to that place, you're in the right place at the right time, even if it looks different and it's not what you expected at all. One of the 4 agreements, I believe this is one of the 4 agreements if you read the book, but is it? I don't know. Let me know. Is to not have expectations. Either way, I think that is something to ponder and consider living by, is to never have expectations, because you'll never be let down if you don't have expectations, and you'll always be open to the experience of life. So then I get towed to family farm area, and family friends are like, come stay with us. Like, come stay with us. We know mechanics, we'll help you out. And I don't know how long it's been, because I've been in this like portal of waiting for the van to be fixed. But here we are, waiting for the van to be fixed still. And right now, yesterday I thought I was sick with the VID. I don't think I am, even though it's going around. I think I've just pulled something in my back, or I don't know what it is. But I'm in a lot of pain, plus my ankle. And, managing my puppy and my dog and my cat and waiting for the van and moving through all these things and dealing with other things in my inner circle, and even things back at the farm. And I'm still involved with that because I'm a board member of the nonprofit. And so I've been moving through all these things, and I've been I am growing. That's the most important part, is that, as I reflect on what's happening here, I can see myself digging to places that I didn't have to dig to before. And so I left my comfort because I was being called to, and was thrown into this, this chaos. And the chaos is beautiful. The chaos, I know we talk about this all the time, and every single soul is going to be led to a different amount of chaos, and chaos at different times. I've lived seasons that are very peaceful and very flowy and very easy. I've lived seasons that are very chaotic, obviously. And I would say that this is one of those. I feel that it's kind of easing, but who knows? So if it's hard right now, if you're moving through a lot of stuff right now that is uncomfortable, know that it's with a purpose and it's changing you. And a lot of what it was coming up for me too was the fear of changing. I was I feel different. I feel like I'm changing. And then my divine thoughts were, it's okay. You're meant to change. You're meant to grow. You're going to continue changing. You're not the version of you that you were before, and that is okay. That is part of the human experience. But your essence will never change. You might become more and more embodied in your essence, and that's great too. And so I let go. And so there's this deep level of trust in this situation. My brother was just what's your plan? Because he's going to be here in a few days, and I was I can't really have a plan because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know, the mechanic says he might not ever be able to fix the van. It might be fixed today, might be fixed tomorrow. I don't know. I really don't know. And I have some rough draft ideas of a plan, but we'll go from there. And that's the way that I live, and that kind of drives people crazy, but that's okay. I think that whatever you're called to doing is what you're meant to do and how you're meant to live. And there's so much programming and so much conditioning around how it's supposed to be and how it's supposed to look. But when you can learn to silence that and learn to find what's yours, your life will become exactly what it's meant to be, and you'll find the fulfillment that you need. I think that that's the thing that we seek the most, is to be fulfilled, one of the things. And so you'll be fulfilled when you start living in your authenticity and start living your life the way that you want to live it. And it might not look like something that other people can comprehend. I know that I am shocking to people here, but that is okay. That is 100% okay, as long as you are growing in the ways that you are meant to grow. So I will leave you with that. If you'd like to download my free wealth wound guide, I have that linked below. Like I said yesterday, it's been feeling really soul aligned to have a free offer like this, and I would like to do more and more and more. We are doing the Wealth Rewire in August, and so if you want to join that, that'll be more. There will be more guided meditations, more deep dives into the wealth wound, into really healing that, and more resources. And so I'm really drawn to, and all these downloads have come through since I've been in this portal here waiting for the van. And so I see the divine intervention in that. But the wealth wound has come up a lot because it's not about wealth. It is, but it isn't. The wealth wound is more about worthiness, and it's about how you see your worth and how you know your worth and how you know it's safe to be in your authenticity. It's nervous system work. And so you guys know I love the nervous system. Healing my nervous system is what allowed me to start traveling the world. Before, I couldn't leave my home. I was bedridden. I was house ridden. I couldn't let people into my home because I was too sensitive to mold and EMFs and all of that. So retraining the brain, rewiring the brain, healing the nervous system, healing the limbic system is what gave me my life back, but allowed me also to manifest things that really light me up and help me grow in this like deep faith in myself and in my intuition and in the divine, that allows me to create all these stories that will be amazing. It lights me up when I think about my stories. Like the other day, I know this is like crazy, and I said it yesterday, but being on the farm, there's a situation with like drug guys, and it's a really nice, beautiful area, but they were getting chased by the cops. They crashed into a neighbor's house, and they were running free from the cops with like knives and weapons and stuff. And so that was alarming. I got picked up. I never saw them. Actually, one saw me and Aslan. They were in the cop car, and apparently the Kangal is their favorite dog in the world, is what they told. It's a long thing, but they're free. Anyway, that was alarming. That was something that I was like, whoa, what a shock. And what a pattern disruptor is really what my mind was saying. I was like, I wonder what's going to come in like with this space that's being made. And then I get here to the family friend's house, and they're like, can you go check on the calves and the cows? Because 2 mamas were giving birth that day. So then I ended up helping give milk to one baby, and then, you know, being there for the birth. And then the next one was stuck, the head was stuck. And so I was assisting in the process of pulling this baby calf out. Like I was like hands bloody and dirty and really in it. And that was an experience. And so that lights me up, is having life experiences. And you know, I was, like I said, I was bedridden, house ridden. I was working the 9 to 5. I was doing the things that just made me, I was even repeating the same day living on a yacht, repeating the same day living on a farm in Italy. I've had those moments where I just felt like I was like not creating the memories that this was the other thing that helped me make my decision to leave and do this, was what will my older self be most proud of looking back on in my life? And these days, these memories, these adventures, sleeping in the mechanics parking lot, like with my 3 animals and food poisoning. Like, I know it's not fun in the moment and it's not for everybody, but the way that I got through all of these things and like the outcome and the version of me that I became, that's what I will love telling the story of when I'm older and looking back on my life. So I will link all my programs below if you would like to work with me and go deeper with me and heal with me and manifest with me. I'm more active on TikTok as of this week, so being led to that. I'm also on Instagram. Everything's Araya, a mentee, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Also, if you want to apply for the retreat, there's still some spots for the retreat in Italy. So I'll be going back to the farm in October. So it's October 4th to the 10th. Women's retreat in Italy on the farm, but also at a local spa with like just the most beautiful amenities, sauna and cold plunge and everything like that. So if you want to apply, I have that linked below as well. And I will see you guys in the next video.